I'm going to talk to you really in this video about one thing only, which is why mentalizing particularly matters, particularly for those of us trying to work with vulnerable clients and help them to learn and adapt and find new ways forward in their lives. So I'm going to start very briefly with an experiment. 2 toys were designed that were completely unique, but they were different. And if you showed them to your average child around this age, about 18 months, they were kind of equally popular. And then they started the experiment proper. So as it started, if you were the toddler sitting there with these 2 toys annoyingly just out of reach, what you'd have seen is me coming in as an experimenter who you don't know. And I ignore these 2 toys on the table, but boy oh boy, I don't ignore you. And I'm really working the relationship with you. I'm trying to get eye contact. If you smile, I smile back. If you look a bit worried, I kind of go, oh yes, it is a bit of a funny old room here. I'm really trying to work my relationship with you so that you feel I'm really kind of beginning to get what it's like to be you. Clearly, in this case, you are a camera, but I'm doing the best I can. When there's something happening between the 2 of us, the experimenter recognizes, yes, we're connected up. Only then I look at these toys. I look at the blue one, I kind of go, wow, that's a lovely toy. And I look at the other one and I kind of go, oh, that's a horrible toy. And then because it's one of these experiments, I kind of go, well, bye. And I walk out. And somebody else comes in. A new experimenter comes in, ignores the toys, looks at you and says, hey, can you show me a nice toy? And with quite high significance, you tend to point to the one the other guy liked. So that's really boring. You learned, that's the nice toy. But that's the question that this experiment was really trying to make sense of. How does a child learn what's a nice toy, what's a horrid toy? The second part of this experiment was where it got more interesting. We rewind that, and I'm the first experimenter, and as I come in, I do not look at you. I'm not interested in you, but I'm interested in the toys. And I look at the first one and I kind of go, wow, that's a really nice toy. And then I look at the other one and I kind of go, oh, that's a horrible toy. And then very much not kind of interested in you at all. I kind of go, bye, and I walk away. And the second experimenter who you don't know comes in, ignores the toys, looks at you and says, hey, can you show me a nice toy? And what was interesting in this experiment is, in that situation, the kid went kind of that one or that one. There was no difference. In other words, they hadn't learned anything about whether this was the nice toy and that was the horrid toy from the first experimenter. Now, why was that? That's what this experiment was all about. And that's what I'm going to talk about very briefly now. Because in our work, we often meet clients who seem to be doing things that are incredibly unhelpful to themselves or to other people. And even when they come into contact with me or my service, where there's help available, the help that we offer seems to kind of bounce off in some way, that they don't seem to be able to take it in and try stuff out. And it's tricky. They struggle, if you like, to trust that the ideas in my mind as a helper, a professional, whatever I am, are worth believing in and trusting in, that they might be relevant to that person over there or this family over there in their lives. Research suggests that what happened in that experiment was that the first child that did learn had an experience of this first experimenter who really looked at them and got interested in them and started to connect up. The child had an experience that this worker was mentalizing them, and that being mentalized helped the child to start to open the door to trusting what might be in that person's head about what is a horrid toy, what's a nice toy. So what do I mean by this? Well, for many of the clients that we work with, it's like there's a big door between them and the worker. The worker who might feel they've got all kinds of help in their mind and in their heart, in their hands, things that they could do for this young person. And the more they try to kind of offer this help out, the more it seems to bounce off. The door is closed to learning. this research that I'm referring to by two chaps, Gergely and Chiba and their colleagues, suggests that it's not about pushing your way through the door. It's not about anything like that. It's understanding or mentalizing that is the key to the door. That when I get a picture in my mind of what it might be like to be this client, and more than that, when my client sees that picture in the way that I present it in my face, God, that sounds awful, or their fear, their depression, they get a sense, you get me, you've understood me. That's the moment where suddenly, if you can do that, if you can seem to get what's in my mind like that, now I'm interested in what else is in your mind. Now I'm interested in what you might be able to say about what might work for other people in my world. So that understanding or mentalizing creates this channel, and we call this epistemic trust. It's a long word, it's just trust. Epistemology is how we think about how people come to learn, come to know. And epistemic trust is this particular trust. It's the trust that what's in my head is not just something that I like, it's something that might work and be valuable for other people in the world apart from me. So that accurate mentalizing is the key to this door. Accurate mentalizing is what creates epistemic trust. So what does that mean? I want to help, but I don't just tell. Instead, I listen. I share my kind of best understandings, as good as they can be. I'm ready to correct if I've misunderstood what it's like to be you. I'm looking always to get a better picture in my head so that when you look at me, you think, now you're getting it. And I'm looking for that moment when my client goes, now you're talking about it. That's what I feel like. That's it. That look in their eyes when they see me as having seen them. And that's epistemic trust. And when that's there, what I say next, what I offer next, there is a chance that when they leave my company, they go and try that out with their mum, with their teacher, with their social worker, their probation officer. This different way of approaching the world. And then we've just got to hope that the world is kind enough that when they try a different way, that they get some positive feedback. Because if they get that positive feedback, they'll probably do it again. And that's learning. So the key to learning and teaching is this moment here. It's mentalizing. That's what mentalizing looks like. This kind of trying to get my understanding of you less inaccurate so that you look at me. Thank you.